What's good? Hey, I like seeing the gear, bro. I like
Yes.
seeing your own gear,
Yes.
man. I love it. The uppity Yinzer
Yes.
T-shirt.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Go and get yourself one.
If you like the
On
finest
millions.
brews, meats, and cheeses, go get yourself
That's
one.
it. That's it.
So check this out, man. We got the combine coming up.
Yes.
So this is now the off season is going to get into high gear. What the Steelers should do as far as who they keep, and then gave some ideas of what we feel. Not
Yep.
necessarily a prediction of what the Steelers will do, but just what you and I feel. And we'll, if you check out the Burgh Cave YouTube page, check out the Steelers Talk channel in here. You'll see a lot of GB and I's conversations, as well as some of the other guys that drop by for a drink and talking some ball. But for a 30-second recap, we are in agreement that we believe the best value in 2025 season at quarterback is Justin Fields. We can see a Matt Stafford trade, which would be great. But the unfortunate part is you're going to have to give up a lot and pay a lot. But,
Yeah.
that's what you get for someone like Matt Stafford. But we believe with this cap room, the best value is Justin Fields. We want to see the tender offer to Warren, which we believe it will happen.
Absolutely.
Right? We would like to see Skoranek come back for depth and to be that special teams ace.
Wide back.
Wide back. That's right. I forgot he was the wide back.
Wide back.
We would like to see Landon Roberts come back for depth
Yep.
at inside linebacker, though I think we had a little bit of an update today I want to talk to you about. And then we would also – there are some other depth pieces, but nobody that's really on the Steelers roster right now. But if they bring some guys back for depth pieces like Herbig at guard,
Sure.
we understand it, but, some things like that.
Yep.
So the one update I want to talk to you about with the Landon Roberts or even the inside backer piece ties into another story point that I want to talk about today. So I'm going to give you a combo of this. I would like for you to weigh in on this.
Yep.
As we know, with the projected cap increase, the Steelers are sitting at about $60 million of cap room.
Sitting pretty.
I got 4 moves. 2 can be back pocket moves that can give the Steelers $24 million additional cap room.
Okay. I'm listening.
The first 2, we've spoken about this too. Cordarrelle Patterson gets his walking papers. And Holcomb, the inside backer, gets his walking papers. That's $8.8 million right there. Before I get to the next 2, the update I was talking about is he's fully healthy.
How about that?
He said he could have played, or well, I can't remember if he said it or if the Steelers said it, that he could have played in the playoffs. If they would have won against Baltimore, he probably was going to dress for the divisional game.
I believe it was Omar Khan that said it.
It was Omar Khan. Yes.
Yeah.
At the combine interview.
Mm-hmm.
So would you take Holcomb over Roberts if Holcomb is fully healthy?
Man, that's tough. That's tough, man, because I guess it would just depend on, because he had it was a knee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and
a pretty bad one.
He's an athletic. Yeah, he was an athletic guy. I don't know, and he could thump too. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. I just don't know. When you're coming off of a serious injury like that, you just never know if you're going to be the same again, right? Yeah. I know theoretically speaking, he was healthy, but at the same time, he still was not playing. You know what I mean? So you have that. So, you never know how that knee is going to respond, and it may respond great, it may not. But Landon Roberts is like a model of consistency. Like you know what you're going to get, and if we need any type of stability, I think middle linebacker would be great. To at least say, hey, you know what, we got this taken care of, right? Because we got a lot of things. We got a lot of other things we got to take care of. So, for me, I would prefer a Landon Roberts still, even if Holcomb is healthy, because Holcomb is going to be you just add another question mark to a myriad of question marks as is,
Yeah, I agree with you too, because I also think Landon Roberts is that goal line, short yardage guy. Not that you have linebackers for specific situations like that, but he is like that attitude setter. if you will, even though we have Patrick Queen. You kind of have that athletic linebacker in Peyton Wilson, though he's not as a big of a thumper as Holcomb is. So I agree. I would rather see Landon Roberts and Holcomb. If Holcomb's here, hey, let's root him on, man. Let's go if it's him over Roberts. But I think I'm in agreement with you. But let's say they do let Holcomb go, and Patterson, which I said that's 8.8 million of cap room. I think they're going to sit at about 2.5 million of dead money, which is nothing, right? They have 40 grand, 40 grand in dead cap, so they virtually have no dead cap. The other two are back pockets.
Okay.
They are restructures. So according to the Steelers Depot, which is a great Steeler Twitters to follow, they are like we are. They're not the emotional fans that are out there that
not like Blitzberg or any of them other dudes. Like Blitzberg or any of them other dudes. Right.
They just sit there and put shit out there just for the clicks and stuff. So obviously he is a great capologist, if you will. So I get a lot of my cap information and then I do some research on top of that. If you were to restructure Muth, there's 7.2 million. You can save up to $7.2 million.
Hey, real quick, they need to restructure him anyways because he hasn't lived up to his damn contract. Let's just keep it 100.
Hey, exactly. I mean,
you want Jack Freiermuth, and I say this, and I wear his damn jersey every damn Sunday. He ain't earned. I'm about to give you another jersey because he ain't earned his contract. So they need to do that on GP alone. So there you go. Done deal.
They need to put a yak clause in his contract. Make him earn it.
Man,
so you can free up 7.2 million with him.
Yeah.
And then Highsmith, who's not going to go anywhere, you can free up another 7.8 million with him. So 7.2 plus 7.8 is 15 million.
Yeah.
Technically, you could be sitting on around 80, 82, 85 million dollars of cap room. That's unheard of for around here because for the longest time, the Steelers were always up against the cap because of Ben's contract. What happens when you have a franchise quarterback?
Please don't get half of it to TJ Watt. Please don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
No, his extension, I don't know what that would mean if that would be more cap room. If you spread out, I'm not obviously it's going to depend on the structure, but I can see that.
Interesting. It'll be interesting because I kind of read the tea leaves, and when you hear, legacy player, stuff like that, then, they're going to give him another big one. That's my point. Like, it's not that I don't want him resign. Yeah. I'm just saying, let's not, we ain't got to break the bank. I mean, we're going to have 80 mil or so. Like, we ain't got to give him, the King's ransom. We got a whole bunch of other needs that we can get done. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't be killing me because even though
we're right here, brother.
Even though he finished the season, the last 2 games statless, I will call it what it is.
Hey, you know what? And I think the injury had something to do with that, but you are right. I mean, he is the top Steeler right now, but he did not perform the last couple of weeks for whatever reason that was, right? Okay. And I know some of this, so I'm preaching a little bit to the choir in this, but just for everybody out there, the non-objective fans out there, the emotional peeps, if you will, you have anywhere from 60 to 80 million. You guys at home can pick a number. The first maybe $9.5 million is going to be taken up by your draft choices this year, right? They spent $8.8 million in the draft last year, totally for the year. So you're looking about with the number going up, you're going to be probably about $9.5 million there. You're going to take about anywhere from 7 to 12 million probably for Justin Fields. 5 to 7 million is going to be for Jaylen Warren. Skronik's going to be 1 to 1.5. That's not going to be much. And if you do bring back a Landon Roberts, you're probably anywhere from 4 to 5 million there. Or if he is gone and Holcomb comes back, he's at 6 million. It's going to be about an even wash. You might be down, maybe $1 million, $1.5 million more by keeping Holcomb. So it's kind of an even wash, even though we both like Roberts. So with that being said, by the way, anybody who is a ball guy, you need to get yourself one of these official footballs, man. This thing is badass when you're sitting around talking ball, man. I don't want to get out and start throwing.
Just want to throw it around, huh?
My old ass. Um, where are you going in free agency, right? And we'll dip into that just a little bit before we get into the combine here in a minute. Where are you going in free agency? Briefly, we spoke about, you and I want that vet corner. I want Asante Samuel Jr.,
Sante Samuel, yep.
Shavarius Ward from the 49ers, some guys like that because they're kind of physical. Around 11 to 14 million a year is probably the market value for these guys. I think that's a great value.
Byron Murphy,
along with Byron Murphy. Yeah, he might be more in the
another
20s,
one.
but that's still a great
That's
value.
another
Where
great
you going?
value.
Your first position or type of player you're going after in free agency with all this cap?
Wide receiver,
Okay.
without hesitation. We got to go big on the wide receiver. I mean, we were close to it before, and again, reading between the tea leaves, Omar Khan, I think he knows he swung and missed, and I don't think he's going to miss a second time. So I do believe we're going to go big. Would be Higgins? I don't know, but um, because you guys, I mean, I had to put the little thing out with the repost to T Higgins with the blue cap. Somebody lying. That's what you're trying to say. Somebody lying.
Somebody's
And
lying.
I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. But wide receiver for sure is number one, and and corner is number two, and I'm gonna add one more. I'm gonna say veteran, higher end D lineman.
Okay. So let's say for wide receiver, since that was your first, and you mean
Yeah.
I barely quit talking and you already said wide receiver. So that's your number one.
Yeah.
That's your number one pick. And I
Yes,
can't
yes,
disagree with you there, whether it's
yes,
corner or receiver first. I can't disagree.
yes.
If you are not able to land T. Higgins, whether he is trapped, which is going to happen, it's a trap if he has to sign that second franchise tag, which he doesn't
Oh,
want to do.
no, no,
But we can't, Steelers can't control that. So if
no.
we cannot get T. Higgins, who are you going after? Is it whether you give me a name or a type of receiver?
I 100% want Debo Samuel, and the fact that the 49ers today said they're going to grant his wish and find a trade for him. If I'm Omar Khan, like, look, we were close with Ayuk. I'm sure we can get something done for Debo. And my understanding is that the asking price isn't nearly as bad either. Like
Yeah.
we looking at like a fourth round. I'll take that all day, all day. And the fact, so when you compound that, and the reason why I say Debo is because of his skill set specifically,
Right.
because it's a major upgrade to a Cordarrelle Patterson type
Mm-hmm.
of guy, and that's an Arthur Smith piece. That's a tool that he uses, right? The hybrid where he can run and he could be a receiver as well. So I think that and the other part to that was that Mike Tomlin was really big and he was high on Debo coming out of the draft
Yes.
too. I don't remember, exactly what happened and how they probably got him before we had a chance to get him to, I guess in the second round, I believe it was. But at any rate, um, he's been high on him, right? And so those are the ones I'm looking at. The last one is, and it's just based on type is, and we've talked about this guy in the past, is Darius Slayton. I
Yeah.
honestly feel like the mix with him in GP and their skill sets, and then you got this the two slot demons in Rome Wilson and Calvin Austin the third. I think that's a nice, you know 1, 2, 3, 4 punch, and they're going to pick somebody up in the draft too. So that's a significant upgrade. That's the way I look at it, at least.
No, I agree. And my type, first off, I agree with your names. Debo Samuel, can even throw Cooper Cup in there too.
Yep,
Um, T.
absolutely.
Higgins, we talk about T. Higgins, really depends on the money you get with him. But like Mr. Wingfield says, man, nobody carries the one like Omar Khan. So I'll trust it to work out those financials
All right.
with T. Higgins if they're going to break the bank on that. Your names are fitting the same body type and type of receivers that I want.
Yeah.
The one thing that was lacking, even when Russ was playing at an all-time level for his career, not an all-time level in NFL, but for his career, what struggled was consistent intermediate passing.
Yep.
We all thought that Freiermuth could have been that guy. For whatever reason, he wasn't. Whether it was targets, didn't put him in the right position, Russ didn't see him, whatever that may be. I need that big, physical, veteran receiver that's known as a route runner. Someone like Deebo Samuel is a yak guy.
Yeah. Yes.
I would even throw. I don't think this is happening, but I would even throw like a Devontae Adams in there as well too. I think he would be choice 4 or 5 of all the names that you've mentioned.
Sure.
Slayton could be that guy too, though he's more of a home run guy. But I think he could be an intermediate guy, good on dig routes, slants, things of that nature. Again, get the ball in his hands. He's probably a good yak guy. Getting that veteran receiver that can move the sticks, that can mentor George Pickens, because he needs it. He's obviously an all-world talent, but he needs someone to show him the ropes. Listen, great coaches, great communicators. That's one thing. Your position coach, that's one thing. But then when you can hear that consistent message or get the tips from the guys that are in the locker room, that goes an extra way with the players.
Devontae Adams would be a perfect in my match from like a veteran standpoint and the skill set. Like I feel like that would be a really, really good
Could you imagine if Devontae Adams can get a hold of Pickens and teach him some footwork? Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Teach Calvin Austin some footwork to make him even more dangerous.
Yeah.
We don't know what Roman Wilson will be. I think he is Calvin Austin with footwork. We'll see how good how that translates to the NFL.
And he can
that's
block.
why I say that veteran receiver.
Yes. I honestly think they were going to try to put if Roman Wilson didn't get injured, I think they were going to try to make him the WR2 because think about the way that they used Van Jefferson. Like he would have ate that position up, like coming in on the coming in on motion and doing the cracks and doing wham blocks and all that. Like I think that's exactly the reason why they got him. So I really think that they were going to put him, after Ayuk, all that stuff was going. Like I thought they were going to try to give him some opportunity at that WR2.
I think you're right. They probably were going to do that. So
yeah.
So you and I are both in agreement. It's the vet receiver, vet corner. I think those are your first 2 moves in free agency. And Omar Khan did hint at that too, because he went through and said all these positions are deep, all these positions are good. He did not mention wide receiver.
Correct.
That to me says that what their eyes on the free agent market, and I do think they'll probably grab a receiver, but it might be like late in the round on a maybe a project or a like a special teams type of guy, to do that. So
I'll give you a name.
All right,
Savion Williams from TCU.
As far as a receiver.
Yes, okay. as a day 3, right? It depends on what happens in the combine, because so he has a very, very interesting skill set, right? He's 6'5", right? And I don't want to say he's like 220, all right, but he had 600 some odd yards rushing this year.
Bigger version of Deebo.
So he's huge. And he's huge. He is so huge.
Hey, that sounds like a guy you would grade on college, like yourself.
Yeah, dude, he's a monster. Now the only issue is that, would he end up being like a Claypool-ish type of dude where he can't get any, separation. So that's what I'm saying. Day 3, not second round.
Look at his footwork, his hips, things like that in the combine. Correct.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So that's a name to like in day 3, just to keep an eye on. I think that they may be looking at a guy like that perhaps to, so.
Yeah, and I got some thoughts on some of these receivers here as we get into that, but I'm going to make sure I follow that guy this weekend when the receivers get on the field. So you mentioned something that about free agency that kind of piqued my interest because I started looking at it. There was a certain defensive lineman now that is available for trade.
How about that?
By name, where he's at, I think would fit perfect with what you're saying, and an instant impact could be instant impact to this D line. Washington Commanders have Jonathan Allen given him permission to seek a trade. So
Yes.
he's just turned 30, which, by the way, I don't think that whole once you hit the line of 30, Steelers aren't going to sign you as a free agent. That's gone anymore. Okay. So I think they broke
Right.
that trend.
Right.
So Jonathan Allen has a $22 million cap hit. However, he's in the last year of his deal. So that could get reworked, even to like a 2-year deal, or maybe a 3-year deal that has like one of those phony years at the end just to spread out the cap. And you know what? I'll do that, and I'll take and I'm making this up, an $8 million dead cap hit on year 3 if he goes, because the cap's going to keep it exponentially growing.
Yeah.
He was out from week 7 to week 15 or 16 with a pec injury. So
Yeah.
if you were talking about Holcomb with his knee, you don't know. The D lineman, as you know, when playing, you got to hit and shed. You take on half a body and you shed off. A lot of times you're one arming people. So that could be a potentially significant injury. But if you bring him in here, get him down there to UPMC and that, see if he can pass these tests, that would actually be a very interesting guy to bring in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He would be interesting. And I'm gonna throw a name out here that I feel like could be a great, because so on the D line, I feel like we could do one of two things. We could either get a vet, because I think we're gonna double dip either way. We either get a vet and a rook in the draft, like high in the draft, or you can double dip in the draft and get like one in the first and then maybe one in the sixth, something like that. I feel like they're gonna do the former though. Now I'm gonna throw one out here. Javon Hargrave.
Oh,
If Javon Hargrave is another thing, UPMC, right?
mm-hmm.
Because what was his issue? Triceps, right? It was triceps, and
Yeah.
that's always tricky. Like you never know. As Aaron Smith, like that was like the kiss of death, right? That triceps injury. So, but he's a little bit longer in the tooth. But it would be a stopgap to get that second round guy up to speed, things of that. I feel like that could be a potential. Like those are two. Like, and I'm with you with Jonathan Allen as well. That was the one I was actually really thinking about. Like, man, we could really use him for quite some time, and then we wouldn't even have to get use the D line as a first round pick. I just like some of these dudes though. That's all. But that's another story.
And while you're looking at that, I just went back to the free agent tracker, and there's a couple of names. Some of these aren't the big names,
Yeah.
right? And I do think, if I do recall, Omar Khan did say something about they got the room or the resources to make a splash along the defensive line as well. Again, little tea leaves, whether that's playing poker with the other GMs already because he knows that there's going to be a lot of people watching or not. You have a couple guys, they're not big names, but they could fill big roles. Sheldon Rankins, who Cincinnati let walk, he's 31, but again, 1 or 2 years. Javon Kinlaw,
I like
kind
him.
of like a tweener.
He's a tweener.
I think he played from the Jets last year.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, is Javon Kinlaw better than Loudermilk? Jordan Phillips is a little too old.
Yeah, he's long in the tooth.
Yeah, he's a little long in the tooth. But there's a caveat. But Kinlaw and Sheldon Rankins were a few that I thought. Now, again, some of these defensive tackles could be available for trade that we're not even tracking.
Sure.
But you like to think of, I think it's going to be an interior guy.
Yeah.
That has that. Maybe he's a 3 technique type guy, a little flexibility because the Steelers run a lot of 2-4-5 defenses where that end is kicking out a little bit. Maybe even as I said, a 3 technique or maybe even a 5. We don't do wide 9 here. That's for the outside backers. But those guys got to be a little bit more flexible.
Right.
But yeah, I would see. Obviously, I think this year is going to be kicking the tires on some D linemen before
Absolutely.
they.
Yeah, I agree. And that it isn't one of those sneaky, because and they pretty much do that every year. You know,
Yeah,
from Dean Lowry to Larry O. What was the guy from the Chargers that we picked up? Fajeko. You know,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
always picking up somebody, like of that ilk to, But I do think that they're going to address the that position high in the draft.